Morning, everyone. I am Darrell Jones GPCTES, and today I'm going to present to you the two existentialist philosophers, namely Martin Heidegger and Jean-Paul Sartre, and their idea of life. So, Martin Heidegger is a German philosopher who is best known for contributions to phenomenology, hermeneutics, and existentialism. He is often considered to be among the most important and influential philosophers of the 20th century. So, in Heidegger's analysis, human existence is exhibited in care. So, ang ating buhay daw is pinapakita sa ating pama, pa, pamamalasakit or care. Care is understood in terms of finite temporality, with riches with death. Death is a possibility that happens. All possibilities are evaluated in the light. When one lives with a resoluteness, or the resoluteness here he's talking about is the quality of being strong, which brings unity and wholeness to the scattered self. Eternity does not enter the picture, for wholeness is attainable within humanity's finite temporality. Care has a threefold structure, namely possibility, facticity, and fallenness. Possibility. Humanity gets projected ahead of itself. Entities that are encountered are transformed merely as are ready to hunt for serviceability, and out of them, humanity constructs the instrumental world on the basis of the person's concerns. In possibility, humanity looks forward and sees things as tools or resources for its use. The world is shaped based on personal concerns. Next, facticity. A person is not pure possibility, but factual possibility. Possibilities open to him at any time conditioned and limited by circumstances, such as historical situations, race, and natural endowments. Heidegger speaks of thrownness, that is, a person is thrown into a world and exists in his or her situation. A person's situation as a finite entity is thrown into a world where he or she must project his or her possibilities not disclosed by theoretical understanding but by moods. So in facticity, a person is not just a potential, but also shaped by circumstances like history, race, and natural abilities. Heidegger talks about being thrown into a world and existing in a particular situation. And lastly, fallenness. Humanity flees from the disclosure of anxiety to lose oneself in absorption with the instrumental world, or to bury oneself in the anonymous impersonal existence of the mass, where no one is responsible. Humanity has fallen away from one's authentic possibility into an authentic existence of irresponsibility and illusory security. An authentic existence, thus, is scattered and fragmented. So, in fallenness, people avoid facing anxiety by immersing themselves in the practical world or getting lost in the impersonal existence of the masses, where no one takes responsibility. This leads to falling away from authentic possibilities into an existence of irresponsibility and false security. Heidegger claimed that only by living through nothingness of death in anticipation do one attain authentic existence. Death is non-transferable. An individual must die himself alone, being to unto the death. Heidegger believes that death is not accidental nor should be analyzed. It belongs to humanity's facticity or limitations. Anyone who experienced death of a loved one seemed to be robbed by the possibility of understanding and analyzing it. One has ceased to be disclosed to oneself. There is no possibility of understanding what one's death has been. Jean-Paul Sartre disagrees with Heidegger. For Sartre, death is not possibility, but the cancellation of possibility. So here, Heidegger says that to truly live authentically, we must face the idea of death. Death is personal and can't be experienced by someone else. It's not accidental, but part of our human limitations. When someone loses a loved one, understanding and analyzing the experience becomes difficult. The person who passed away is no longer known to themselves. Sartre disagrees with Heidegger. He sees death not as a possibility, but as the end of all possibilities, canceling them out. Next, existentialist philosopher is Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Charles Aymard Sartre was a French philosopher, playwright, novelist, screenwriter, political activist, biographer, and literary critic, considered a leading figure in 20th century French philosophy and Marxism. Sartre was one of the key figures in the philosophy of existentialism. Jean-Paul Sartre's philosophy is considered to be a representative of atheistic existentialism. For Sartre, the human person desires to be God, the desire to exist as a being that has its sufficient ground in itself, or the Greek word ensoi kosa. This means that for an atheist, since God does not exist, the human person must face the consequences of this. The human person is entirely responsible for his or her own existence. There are no guideposts along the road of life. The human person builds the road to the destiny of his or her choosing. He or she is the creator. The human person is in the midst of a world that silently stares at him or her. Sartre is famous for his dualism, and namely insoi and persoi. Insoi, or in itself, signifies the permeable and dense, silent and dead. From them comes no meaning, they only are. The insoi is absurd, it only finds meaning only through the human person, the one and only persoi. Persoi, for itself, the world only has meaning according to what the person gives to it. Compared with the insoi, a person has no fixed nature. To put it in a paradox, the human person is not what he or she is. So, in soy is it's like the silent and lively part of the world that doesn't give meaning on its own. It only gains meaning through the human person or the persoi. Persoi is the world only has meaning based on what a person gives to it. Unlike the insoi, person doesn't have a fixed nature. In a strange way, a person is not defined by what they are. Sartre's existentialism stems from this principle existence precedes essence. The person, first of all, exists, encounters himself, surges up in the world, and defies himself afterward. The person is nothing else but what he makes of himself. The person is provided with a supreme opportunity to give meaning to one's life. In the course of giving meaning to one's life, one fills the world with meaning. Freedom is therefore the very core and the door to authentic existence. Authentic existence is realized only in the deeds that are committed alone, in absolute freedom and responsibility, and which, therefore, is the character of true creation, the person of what one has done and is doing, not what he or she dress, hopes, and expects. So, his idea that the person existence comes from their essence. In simple terms, it means that first, a person exists and they define themselves through their actions and choices. Through their actions and choices. According to Sartre, individuals exist first, confront themselves, emerge in the world, and then define themselves. He believes that a person is essentially what they make of themselves. This provides a unique opportunity to give meaning to one's life. And in doing so, one fills the world with meaning. So in short, the person uh the person is the only one who can give meaning to one's life. Yes. On the other hand, the human person who tries to escape rather obligations and strives to be in soy such that excuses such as I was born this way or I grew up in a bad environment is acting on bad faith or mauvaise foi. In this essay, no exit Sartre alleges hell is other people. Sartre reflects that when someone looks at other people, they become objects for Sartre. There it no way there it is no way of coming to terms with the other that does not end in frustration. This explains why we experience failure to resolve social problems arising from hatred, conflict, and strife. So, again, on the flip side, if a person tries to avoid responsibilities and seeks to be in itself or in soy, for example, making excuses like I was born this way or I grew up in a bad environment. Sartre argues that this is a form of self-deception called bad faith or mauvaise foi. In essay No Exit, Sartre famously claims that hell is other people. He reflects that when individuals view others, they tend to objectify them. According to Sartre, any attempt to understand and connect with others ultimately leads to frustration. This perspective sheds light on why social problems arising from hatred, conflict, and strife are challenging to resolve. Because, in Sartre's view, there is no satisfactory way to reconcile with others without encountering frustration. So that is all. Thank you for listening.